Fore play-ups at Barstool Sports. It's a big time. It's now Thursday. It is December 10th, 2020. This show is largely about the U.S. Women's Open. It's the final major of the year. It's the most important major in all of women's golf. We have three. That is right, three very special guests. We have Michelle Wie West, who is the 2014 U.S. Open champion at Pinehurst #2. That was a very cool year where they did the men first. Martin Keimer and Ricky Fowler battled. Keimer ran away. And then the next week, the women played, and Michelle Wie got her major, won the U.S. Open. So we talk a lot about that. We talk about her covering the Masters and obviously just the U.S. Open in general. Then we have Maria Fassi, who is one of the hottest stars in all of the game, hottest young stars in all of the game. Hits the ball a mile. She averaged over 280 on the PGA Tour or on the LPGA Tour last year and this year. And then we have J. Marie Green, who she actually suffered a crazy bike accident earlier in the year, has recovered and is getting back. Her brother's her caddy, so we kind of get into that dynamic, talk a lot about what's going on down at Champions Golf Club in Houston. They're playing two different courses because they have, they didn't want to cut the field size crazy amounts yet. It's obviously December. It's not, June or July, so you don't have as much daylight. So playing two different courses, Thursday, Friday, and then cutting the field down and playing the Cypress Creek course. So we talk a ton of U.S. Women's Open. They're clearly doing a campaign about women worth watching. I think the statistic that they keep throwing around that I'm seeing a lot is only 4% of all sports coverage is of women's sports. That should be much higher. We've talked about lady golf a ton on this podcast. I go on these crazy Twitter, nights on some Saturdays and Sundays when it's just the LPGA's on and you get these knockdown, drag out battles down the stretch. So we've got that with no real other golf going on a professional level. This weekend, it's a good time to highlight the women's game. The USGA kind of doing whatever they could possibly do to make this tournament happen. And so again, we have three special guests. It's going to be a very, very good tournament. It's the biggest major that they've got, so it means the world to them, which we get into. It's on Golf Channel. I looked up a bunch of the time. Thursday, Golf Channel, 12:30 to 6 p.m. Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. And then on Saturday, you've got Golf Channel coverage in the middle of the day, and then you've got NBC from 2:30 to 6, and then from 2 to 6 p.m. on Sunday. So they got network coverage, and then Peacock here and there. If you want to get into the Peacock game, you can jump in and catch it there. But U.S. Women's Open, USGA doing a great job. We have three different guests, so we're going to get into a lot of that. And then another programming note, we have three scramble matches. So speaking of women's golf, we are playing three former professional women's golfers and our guy Dustin Schaefer today when this podcast comes out at Greyhawk, the Talon course. Gentlemen, you guys landed today. You saw a little bit of desert golf. We saw Paige, we saw Chelsea, we saw Mel. How are we feeling now going into the match?
Well, you say like
nervous. I'd say nervous.
You think about going to a match, like we're playing a bunch of chicks and we're men, and let me stop you right there. I'm no man, okay? I'm fragile.
True.
I'm weak. I'm feminine. Everything about me is pathetic. Not saying that females are pathetic. I'm saying me personally, I am pathetic. I'm a pathetic build. My potential is so high of being like a young, athletic, 27-year-old like male athlete, and then I do what I do, and it's not even close. I'm not even close to where I need to be. And the reason I'm bringing this up and the reason I'm shitting on myself so much is because we saw Paige Baranek today, and I've seen the videos, and I've seen her hit, and I've seen like she played with Tiger and chipped at his fucking event. She was nails and all these other, and you hear the stories about Chelsea and the whole thing. I watched them like chip around this little green at Greyhawk, and they are so much better at the game of golf than all of us that it's actually stunning. And that's not like I would feel the same way like when we watched Kids. Like it was just like this guy's just better than us. And that's the same feeling I have watching Paige Baranek hit golf balls, regardless of how far she hits it or whatever. She's just better. And going into this match, I'm nervous that we are going to not only lose but get embarrassed. Because we are these men, quote unquote.
It's not about that.
Oh, we hit the ball far. They're just going to fucking dust us, man. They're going to fucking crush us.
No, yeah. Like if we were only playing Paige, fine. Then it's a different story. just for, we are trying to play it a little deeper, so we have the yardage advantage. But then, we're playing two other former professional golfers. So
we're the underdogs, Trent. Like,
what?
We're the underdogs. So people should understand going into this, like, this is no fucking easy match. We are far and away the underdogs.
Yes, I agree with that.
What do you think, Riggs?
Well, look, yes, this is by far, I would say, the match that we should lose the most. I would say it's up there with Kisner, except worse. Like, there's no reasonable way that they should lose. Now, the one advantage that we think we have, and, we were debating this evening, and before I get into that point, I'm going to remind you to go get some Owens mixers, please. It's on Amazon. It's a great stocking stuffer. They got a lot of different options. The mint cucumber lime is one of my favorites. The transfusion is one of my favorites. You pour it in, you make yourself a great cocktail. It's very simple. Owens mixers, Amazon, a lot of different retail spots, owensmixers.com. The transfusion, we love it. We're going to talk more about that, but I'm going to get back to my point, which is that they are, in theory, going to hit it shorter than we are. Paige and Chelsea probably drive it around 240, 250. It's going to be cold and a little rainy tomorrow, which is today, whenever you guys are listening to this, which is amazing because it hasn't rained in like a year here, but it's going to rain. So it's not going to go as far. And in theory, Frankie and Lurch can move it out there 280, 290, I feel like, pretty consistently. So, like, if we are hitting fairways, if you guys are hitting fairways, and we have a 40 or 50-yard advantage, then I think it gives us at least a screaming chance. Now, they also, Dustin, who is an awesome guy, played in the Classic last year. He donated a bunch of money to get into the Classic and play with Paige. He knows this crew really well. He donated a bunch of money to the Jake Owen Foundation in order to play this match, and then brought the girls along with him to play us. He also, like, hits the ball just as far as you and Lurch, or farther, and he's like a 5 or 6 handicap. So
yeah, he's sick.
He just drives it well off the tee. Like, we're then just playing from the same place, like in the fairways and stuff, against 3 professional golfers, like a 5 handicap, and us 4 buffoon hack golfers who are just going to lose. That's just what's going to happen.
I'm also nervous that the course is very tight. We were out there today and we kind of saw it, and like they're saying, if you don't hit it in the fairway, your ball is dead. And I would say 2 out of the 3 girls are guaranteed to put balls in the fairway. So if we just have 4 tee shots that are not in the fairway, we're dead meat. We're
Dead
really
meat.
Like if we just have a little bit, like if Frankie has an off driving day, if Lurch has an off driving day, like I'm liable to spray it all over the place. Riggs is liable to spray it all over the place. Like, we just don't know. If we have 4 dead balls, we're going to lose this thing in a hurry.
I said this in front of them, too, and they were playing mind games. Paige gave me a chipping lesson. It's on the Barstool Instagram and Twitter. It's actually a pretty good chipping lesson. She's just fucking unreal at golf, and the way she's able to explain it, she learned this, like, little thing from Tiger. She has her own little stuff that she does. And, like, I explained that they were trying to get into our head. She's telling me I need to fix my grip, and am I going to come at that angle tomorrow? And I was like, Paige, listen, like, I'm already a mental disaster. Let's not do this. So I'm tossing and turning my bed tonight. But what I said to them is, like, our downside is so much more extreme than theirs. Like, we could our off the rails are off of a bridge of a train that falls 800 feet down into a fucking Grand Canyon. Their off the rails is like, all right, it bumps off for a second, but it gets right back on the track. They maybe miss a green or 2, and they get mad and they pout for a second, then they get right back on the next tee and they fucking stick it 2 inches. Like, we don't have it, we don't have it. It didn't get on the plane with us. That's just the life of an amateur golfer. We don't have it sometimes. So that going in is like, I cannot wait to get to the range tomorrow and just see, like, is Lurch nimble? Is he feeling loose, or is he tight? We may be dealing with a little bit of rain, a little bit of mist. It's going to be a little cold. How's that going to affect him? Right. Our first tee shots, like, are we just going to stripe the ball off one and be like, all right, guys, like, we can do this? Like, because that feeling was this is a very similar feeling to the night before playing Kids. And then after the first hole, we're like, all right, all square through 1. Like, we could do this.
We're so fragile, right? Like, if we get off to a good start, our confidence level skyrockets, and that can propel fragile little poor golfers like us to victory. And if we get off to a poor start, we will spiral out of control and we will lose on the 10th green. Like, that's not a crazy thing because, you know, we were discussing this evening as well, which is that they, for all intents and purposes, they are automatic. Like, they are going to hit the ball in the fairway. They are going to hit it on the green. They are going to make a decent amount of putts, and they're just going to be in the mix and have a good chance on every single hole. We are the opposite of automatic. Like, we are tumultuous. We are volatile. We are all over the place. Like, it's not inconceivable that on a par 4 or 2, that off the tee, we just lose the hole. It's like, well, no, not one of you hit a drive that could reasonably be considered a findable, hittable shot. So, like, you guys are just out of the hole now. Like, that absolutely could happen. And so when you add all of that up, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to win. The only hope is that we did this calculation correctly and that the distance difference works in our favor, that Dustin doesn't drive the ball great, and that they're hitting 3 woods into fucking holes where we're hitting, you know, 9 irons in. And if that happens, we might have a fighting chance.
Yeah, the big man Lurch isn't on the show right now. He's on a plane on his way out here, and it might be all hands on deck tomorrow morning, stretching that big fella out. We might have to be pulling him and pushing his back and warming him up because he has back problems as it is, and Frankie alluded to it. It's going to be colder. We need to get him a couple of bagels. We talked about him being on a juice cleanse. We need his mind right. We need his body right because he is going to have to play well. We're all going to have to play well, but he comes out with heroic shots that help us along the way big time.
Back issues at age 32. Like, he should have been doing cleanses for a decade. Why has he got back issues? Like, our guy, he's like Tiger out here. He's 15 years younger and has had 0 back surgeries. And, like, if it's cold and a little rainy, his back, like, squeaks and he can't fucking play. It's just, like, what are we dealing with?
Crazy.
That's our
Like, I'm fragile, I'm pathetic, I'm weak, but he's almost more of a liability for his body to just shut down, and he can't perform at all, any athletic ability, because it's a little too cold. Like, his knees get, like, creaky. Like, it's crazy. It's like fucking Jack in the boat.
He's going to be – we need him to perform. I have all the confidence in the world, but we're a roller coaster. As usual, we were very nervous the night before the Kisner match. You get out there, things start to turn. Who knows?
We are such a roller coaster, though, man. Like, I text my buddies before all these things, and, like, they say, like, it's just – I'm a nightmare when it comes to the, like, pre-match. Like, I'm saying we have no chance, and we have a chance. Like, the other day, one of my buddies was like, this is, like, your formula. It's like a pity party going into it, and then you want all the credit in the world when you win. It's like you set up how hard it is going in, how we're going to lose, and then when you win, it's like, oh, you weren't on my team. You guys didn't believe in us. Meanwhile, like, this one's different, though, and I'm telling people, like, these guys, this group of girls collectively are going to beat us, and unless we play out of our fucking minds, we have no chance. We have to play phenomenal golf. Because they're going to have a lot of birdie chances, which means that there are opportunities for us to have birdie chances. It's not like they're just going to, like, drop the ball on the green. Like, we will have shots into greens. We have to hit them onto the green. We have to perform in a way in which our balls go onto the green and we have birdie chances. So we just have to execute. We have to play otherworldly good for our games. Isn't
it crazy to think that we actually have control over what happens tomorrow?
Correct.
Like, we speak about it like it's, man, I really hope my swing shows up and I'm able to hit the golf ball into that green strip out there. But, like, actually you just control that. Like, you stand over the ball, you get to think through it, it doesn't move, and then you get to put an athletic, you know, movement upon the ball and have it go where you want it to go. But it feels like that's just completely out of our control. And like Frankie's saying, like, we need a miracle. Tomorrow needs to be a 1980 Miracle on Ice event, and we needed that to just keep happening 3 days in a row because we have 3 of these things.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. And then I'm also spinning too. Like, I even told Trent this: if we go 0-3 here, and we're like, yes, it makes the 4-minute scramble incredibly less impressive because right now we are like a PGA Tour pro. But then it also opens up the door for, like, all right, we just got beat 3 times. Like, the next pro we beat Like, that's embarrassing. Like, we just got swept out the building by Paige Sporanic and her friends, and, like, Joel Damon and Pat Perez was wasted and beat us. Like, you guys, like, we just beat you. Like, what is that? So I think no matter what, we'll still be a force. That's the only thing that's keeping me, like, sane in the head, because I don't want to think about leaving the desert 2-3 and, like, being irrelevant. Like, we are now the best golfer on tour right now, 2-0, undefeated.
Yeah, we are. I mean, Kisner is a top 25 player in the world. He just lost in a playoff in the PGA Tour, and we defeated him. And so, yeah, we're pretty much – I mean, there's an argument to be made, right? We're almost like we're like an undefeated Notre Dame right now, where it's just like, no, we could argue that we're the best college football team in the world. Like, no one's beat us. Like, how – we're the best team in the world. You can't – and now that's, again – which sucks. Almost like we should have gone one and done and then just, like, ducked out of matches forever. But now we actually have to prove, and there's a chance that we could just get embarrassed. Now, here's a programming note. Our plan is Thursday. Again, there's rain in the forecast, so we have drones, we have cameras. We might have to push it back a little bit, but we are going to play. Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to be going live playing Paige, Chelsea, Mel, and Dustin. And then on Friday, we are playing Joel Damon at his home club, Mesa Country Club, I think it is, where he shot 58. So that's exciting.
Nightmare.
I think we're going to tee off between 2:30 and 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then Saturday, we are playing Pat Perez. We're going to play again around about 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. We're still working on that golf course. Pat's trying to get us in his home track. We got a bunch of public options, so we're going to be fine with the golf course. But the next 3 days, for those of you that are fans of what we do, tune in. And it's a great time to watch golf. You should be watching the Women's U.S. Open. You should be watching them battle it out for the most important thing in their careers and their lives and everything they've strived for forever. And then you can stream. You can jump on Instagram while you're sitting on that couch or you're at the desk or you're on working from home. You can stream and watch us playing these next 3 matches. That's what we're out here to do. And our future as a 4-man scramble is going to either elevate dramatically over the next 3 days if we somehow go 3-0, or it could take a devastating turn. And I'm very nervous and concerned to think about that. Like, are we going to be at each other's throats? Are we going to come on this show and, like, yell at each other about how this guy fucked that? Like, I don't know what's going to happen if these don't go well, because so far all they've done is go really well.
It's almost like a team going on a big road trip in hockey. Like, the Islanders are going on the West Coast road trip and they're playing fucking Vegas. They're going into LA, then they're going up in Vancouver, and it's a fucking, like, just get a couple wins and get back home. That's how we need to feel right now. Like, let's just play some good hockey, put some fucking good plays together. Let's get the pucks in deep. Let's be boys. Like, let's fucking go. Like, let's fucking play our game. Let's not elevate or downgrade to their game. Just play our game, play our system. Let's go Barry Trotz, get us going, and let's fucking get a couple wins and get back to the island. That's what I'm thinking. It doesn't have to be a sweep. Let's just play our game and see what happens. If we stick to our mentality and our playbook, good things are going to happen, boys. Don't look at the scoreboard.
That was good.
I love it. You're right. Come out, play our game, stick to our game plan. We've done this before. We know we can do it again.
Even if we go down 0-1, Riggs, hey, there's 60 minutes on that clock. All right? Go down 0-1, doesn't matter. You still play your game. Pucks are going to find that net. Pucks are going to find that net.
2-goal lead, worst lead in hockey. 2-goal lead.
Let's go.
Like, dude, we just got to stay in it, play our game, trust that we are strong, competitive athletes that can do the damn thing.
We have no chance.
By the way, kids just kind of buried you on Twitter.
Fuck.
Well, Foreplay tweeted out, she's a better teacher than Kevin Kisner, showing Paige Sporanic teaching.
That is a Frankie quote. That's what Frankie said.
Yeah, and Kiz responded and said, "You're barely hitting the green, bro."
Frankie's looking at it. He's going,
fuck.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, boy. There goes all that rah-rah talk right out the window.
Yeah, we have no chance.
He's processing right now.
Feverishly looks like he's trying to type up a response. I don't know if that's –
Yeah, you're trying to come up with a winner.
No, I'm just going to take that L Right on my chin. Right on my chin. Let it dribble down.
Stay positive, man. We're here to win.
Did you not like that, Trent?
That was yeah. Fine. Fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Folks, you can watch. You can see what happens. Nobody knows yet. We will be looking very good out there. I can tell you that much. And I know it's going to be because Peter Millar, they got the best sweaters this fall. It's going to be sweater season. It's going to be sweater weather these next couple of days. Here as we get into late fall, we get into winter time, we get into the holidays. We're well into the holidays. Their Crown Soft sweaters are quite simply the best. Crafted from a luxurious merino wool silk blend. You hear that, folks? Luxurious merino wool silk blend.
Jeez.
Yeah. I was rocking one of these earlier this year when I was at Pinehurst. It's that like almost Carolina blue one that I have.
Yeah.
And it pops. The responses, people are just like, I've never seen an item of clothing that has the type of appeal that this sweater has. And I just described to you what's in it. But their pants, their EB66 5-pocket pants are elite. They just make elite stuff. That's what you want. You're going to pay, and you are going to get the best, the top of the line apparel from top to bottom, from sweaters to polos to pants to shorts to quarter zips, whatever you want. Trust me, trust us. petermillard.com/Fore. You use the code 4 at checkout. You get yourself a complimentary sweet hat. Use the code 4. You go to petermillard.com/Fore. We've curated our cool list of items that we like. This stuff plays anywhere, man. It plays on the golf course. It plays if you go out on a nice date. It plays if you're going into work. Even if you want to look on your Zoom meeting like you're a professional, yet you want to be extremely comfortable. These pants that I talk about, the EB66 5-pocket pants, it's the only thing last year that my brother asked for Christmas. It was the only thing. He said, look, Riggs sent me a couple pair of these pants. I have to every day go into the office. I have to wear pants. He's outside. He's walking around different apartment complexes. I want like 5 more pair of these pants. They are that good. So trust us. Trust Peter Millar. They're going to get you dialed in. petermillar.com/Fore. Use the code 4, and you're ready to rock. We got 3 huge matches, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Paige, Chelsea, Mel, and Dustin. Then we're right into Joel Damon at his home course. Then we're right into Pat Perez, which is going to be a shit show on a Saturday. Pay attention. Enjoy. Now we've got 3 guests in a row. We're talking U.S. Women's Open. We're talking Houston. We're talking the most important major in the game. We're talking these women work their asses off their whole life, and they have a chance now for eternal glory to win the biggest title, the biggest championship that they can possibly win. So tune in, listen, enjoy, and get yourself to a television, get yourself to a streaming device, whatever it is. Tune into all the golf that's going on this weekend and enjoy. First up, we've got Michelle Wie West, your 2014 U.S. Open champion. All right, folks, we are joined. It's obviously a huge week, probably the biggest week of the year in women's golf. It's U.S. Women's Open week. We've got the 2014 champion at Pinehurst number 2, mind you, Michelle Wie West. Welcome to the show for the first time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You got it. U.S. Open week, obviously you as a champion, when this week comes around, it's a little different for you because, your life has changed a lot, but I'm sure you get pretty excited, pretty giddy on U.S. Open week still.
Oh yeah, that'll never change for me. U.S. Open from day one has been the tournament that I wanted to win. And even after I won it, I'd still want to win again. It's like Christmas morning. It's so exciting.
So, Pinehurst, we've got our whole squad has a lot of history at Pinehurst. Your biggest golf moment was at Pinehurst. Ours also was at Pinehurst, where we defeated Kevin Kisner playing as a 4-man scramble. But Pinehurst now to be.
What a comparison of accomplishments there.
I think it's pretty close.
I was expecting it a lot more. I wasn't expecting that.
So that was a great Pinehurst moment. Now, let me tell you another Pinehurst moment that's probably equates to your win at the U.S. Open. Riggs spent 99 days during this pandemic at Pinehurst. He played Pinehurst number 2 like 50 times. He fled there, stayed there, quarantined there. And then when he had to leave, he cried because the Pinehurst staff clapped him to his way to his his car, and it was a big viral moment on the internet. So I think you guys both have a great emotional connection to that place. What do you think about that comparison, that Riggs, you know, he was weeping on the grounds of Pinehurst, as you probably were, both with the same amount of accomplishments, I believe?
I mean, it seems like they were clapping. They couldn't wait for me to get to the clubhouse. And it seems like they were clapping for him because they were excited that he was leaving the clubhouse. So, I mean, apples to apples, not really, but sure, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a very good point, Frankie.
Thanks.
Pinehurst number 2, you know, it was such a unique stretch in that they had the back-to-back, the men's and the women's. How cool was it for you to, you know, of all the tournaments, majors we go with, for you to have won that one? How cool was that?
Oh, I can't even begin to say. I mean, you know, Pinehurst number 2, you see the old footage of Payne Stewart winning, and you see, you know, just the Putter Boy statue, and you just hear of, I've never been to Pinehurst before that. And I think that the men playing the week before we did is one of a very big reason why I won that year. It was kind of like everything came together, and, you know, a big part of it, you know, is Ricky giving me his yardage book. I mean, to have that kind of information, I mean, I've never had that kind of information before. And it's like a cheat sheet going in, you know, him like literally writing, don't go here, don't go there. Okay, this putt breaks this way. And, you know, that big putt that I made on 17, you know, a lot of our hole locations were exactly the same between the men and us. And he actually, like, we were in the same spot, and he actually like wrote the break on it. And I got there and I was like, yes, I got like the answer to the test. And it was just like where everything kind of came together. And, you know, you hear so many daunting stories of, you know, Pinehurst number 2, hardest golf course ever. And for me to follow Ricky and, you know, Martin Keimer on the last day, and to see him just rip up the golf course, it just seemed like a normal golf course to him. You know, it was making birdies left and right. And, you know, for me to see that with my own eyes, it automatically put me into a different mindset, different perspective on the golf course. I mean, like, okay, this is gettable. This is doable. I've seen it happen. It's possible. So I think the men playing before we did, I think that played a big part in me winning.
Yeah, it was so unique. I remember, you know, on the weekend and the final round of the men's, with a lot of the women coming out, practicing, preparing that day while the tournament was concluding. Like you said, you and several others kind of walking with the leaders and checking it out. It was just so unique. And I can't get over how burned out the golf course was, because like Frankie very kindly alluded to, like we've spent a lot of time at Pinehurst and never seen it like that. And then when you walk through the halls and they've got all these different photos from Payne Stewart to your victory, your kind of moment when your final putt drops, and it's just brown. So how I guess difficult was that, playing that golf course? Donald Ross, a Scottish architect, and then it was playing about as linksy as it could possibly play.
I loved it. I just thought everything about that golf course. And, you know, obviously it sounds corny right now when I say it, because I obviously won there. But truly, when I first got there, I was like, wow, this is like my favorite golf course ever. And this is before I won. I mean, I know it sounds like extremely corny saying it now, but when I got there, I was like, this is so cool. I love how brown it looks. And as linksy as it was, it played completely different from an actual true links golf course in Europe, I felt like. But I thought it was like really cool that it felt natural. It felt like how the golf course would look like if there wasn't a lot of hands on it. And obviously it was perfectly manicured. But the fairway and all that, it felt natural to me. And it actually played to my advantage because not a lot of people know this, but I felt really uncomfortable with my driver that week. You saw I just hit stinger 3-woods, and the fact that it was so burnt out and I could still hit 300-yard 3-woods, you know, played a huge advantage. The fact that I didn't have to hit a lot of drivers, everything that we kind of worked out perfectly. You know, there wasn't a lot of rough. You know, you hit it in the native. And I kind of had that joke that week, because I was born in the native, and, you know, I felt really comfortable being in the native grounds.
It's great. It's awesome. It's so cool to have won there. And then now, I mean, the U.S. USGA is partnered with Pinehurst. It's the first anchor site for men's U.S. Opens and for a lot of different USGA tournaments going forward. So it's almost like they're making it even more historic as you get away from 2014. So it's just like, yeah, that's my spot. That's where I won, which again must be very cool.
Yeah, and the amount of eyeballs on that one too, right? Because you said it was like the men's into the women, so like it felt like everyone just watched the next one very easily because we had just seen the prior week, and it's like, all right, let's see the women tackle this as well. So for you to win that, it must have been huge for your brand and your name, like just everything about winning that U.S. Open in particular probably exploded everything for you career-wise. No?
Oh yeah, I mean, winning there versus anywhere else, it really elevated my game and I mean my career after that, and my brand, like you said. It was so cool because they kept most of the grandstands. And
Yeah.
as you know, the men, they have bigger grandstands, bigger crowds, and walking down 18 when I was watching the men, being like, oh my God, that's going to be what it's going to look like on Sunday when we walk down. And I mean, they looked enormous, huge. And they obviously took down, a couple, but actually they didn't take down a lot. And when I walked down on Sunday, I was like, wow, like it felt like people were just as excited to watch us as the men.
Yeah.
And that felt so good.
Yeah, totally.
So let's use that kind of fast forward to this year. We've got Houston champions. It's December due to everything that's going on, the pandemic, which it's weird, it's different. We've talked to dozens of players, men and women, this year, just talk about how different the whole schedule is, the year's been. But overall, for the US Open, it's sort of allowed this opportunity to spotlight it and highlight it. At the end of the year, there's no, the men are pretty much done. It's the last major of the year. So how kind of unique and cool of an opportunity is it now for the women's game and for the U.S. Women's Open to be highlighted in December, when there's really not much else golf-wise to go up against?
I think it's awesome. The amount of adjusting that the USGA, the LPGA, our players, international players have had to do to make this event possible, it's wild. I mean, we're talking golf in December, where sunlight really isn't a thing. It's short sunlight. We're now going to play 2 golf courses, which is like, it blows my mind how we're going to do that. 156 players. But like you said, it's really a spotlight on the women's game this week. Players will play for the first time for $1 million purse. I mean, $1 million winner, $5.5 million purse. That's never been seen. And the fact that the USGA is believing in us and, made this happen for this year, I think is incredible. There's so many great players. You're going to see a lot of international players come over for the first time because of the pandemic, and it being in December, nothing really else going on golf-wise. It's going to be so cool. All eyes are going to be on the women this week, and I think that's fantastic.
Tell us about what can we expect from these golf courses? What are they, the standard kind of U.S. Open? I was taking some flyovers, and it looks like there's some, tree line, the rough. It looks pretty kind of classic from what I've seen.
Yeah, I've everything that I've heard, it's a great golf course. I mean, golf courses, I guess. From what I've heard is that the 2 golf courses that they will be playing on Thursday, Friday before the cut are very different from one another. So one golf course will suit a certain type of player and the other golf course will suit a different type of player. So I find that very interesting. I don't know how these players are going to do prep for 2 golf courses. One golf course is hard enough. So it's going to be really interesting to see the score changes between the 2 courses on Thursday and Friday.
How do you like our girl, Danielle Kang? So she's been on our show 3 or 4 times. She's sort of the people's women's golfer. She's always a riot when she's on. She's had this year, I mean, she had the stretch, a couple wins in a row, and then followed it up with, I believe, a T5, and then just in October, which I think was the last time at Reynolds, where she finished second. So she's been playing great golf. I like her chances.
I mean, great. I mean, she's had a great year, winning back-to-back and, having a lot of top 5s, top 10s. She's definitely going to be a name to watch this week.
like that. We're always rooting for her.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, she's had a good year. So it's kind of hard not to. How are you sort of adjusting to this other side of the game, other side of the business? I mean, very much enjoyed your commentary, your broadcasting at the Masters. Thought it was a really, really cool perspective. So how are you enjoying it?
It was a lot of fun, extremely honored. And when I got that call from CBS saying that they want me to put, me on the Masters broadcast, I was like, huh? I was like, am I hearing this correctly? I'm like, the Masters? I'm like, okay. And not really having done a lot of work before that, putting me like really into the Super Bowl event. I was talking to Ross from CBS, and the amount of belief that they had in me, I'm extremely honored, extremely grateful for the opportunity. It was a lot of fun. It was hard. Because of the pandemic, we weren't able to be there. Never seen the golf course before in my life. So that was interesting. But, just watching them play it, watching DJ just rip it up, it's incredible to watch. I mean, they were just so good. So much fun being on the other side, just being able to be a true fan of the game. Something that I've never really had to do before or, done. When you're playing, you take a lot of things for granted. You take the game for granted. It's not, exciting or new. So to do something new like this, it really allowed me to be a fan of the players, fan of the game. So it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully I can get back to playing and still do some of the TV stuff that I have been doing. I'm really enjoying it all.
Yeah. What's the plan? I mean, I know there's injury, you got married, you've had a baby girl. So there's been a lot of life changes, but I saw you were teasing for a lot of the year, at least some of the stuff I read, like, is she going to play in the US Open? So clearly there's that desire to get back. So what's sort of the plan right now?
Yeah, I mean, I actually entered my name into the field for the US Open. That got the USGA a little bit too excited. They're like, all of a sudden I got like all these text messages and emails from the USGA, like, oh my God, are you playing? I'm like, I don't know. I just put my name in, just calm down. And I was going to play. I was practicing like I was going to just, it's just so unfortunate with the pandemic and like, the cases that are spiking. I just didn't feel comfortable, traveling with my baby, across the country to, I guess midway, to get on a plane, and just made a last minute decision, to not travel just because I really wanted to play, but my baby's health comes first. And I just didn't feel quite comfortable yet. It would have been her first, real plane ride. So I'm just taking it day by day. I would love to play next year. I just have to see what's happening with the world and, see if it's safe for, my family to do so.
It sounds like you're close. I mean, you've been playing a decent amount, I would assume.
Yeah, trying as much as I can. My parents are actually here for the holidays, so I have a lot more freedom. Without them, I'm, with the baby 24/7. So, when my husband can watch her, I can play. So practicing, I used to be able to practice, for hours every day. But now it's like I practice a couple hours here. Now it's like a week until I practice again. So I'm going to have to try to find a better routine to get my practice in, but, really just been enjoying my time with her right now.
It's very interesting. Last night we did kind of a marathon show with Kevin Kisner, and we were talking about that exact thing. And he's like, when I was a little younger, even 5-6 years ago, he's got a few kids now and a young family. And he's like, I just can't do and put the time in that I used to be able to put in. And he's like, it's fine. It's great. I love my life.
Mm-hmm.
But it is funny, from a fan's perspective, when you tune in, you see names on the leaderboard, whatever, a lot of people just wouldn't consider all of those things. And it's like, no, you guys like have full, real lives, priorities, things change year over year. And it just kind of changes your whole life.
Yeah, it's crazy how, my life changed in an instant, with being pregnant and, having her. It's just my entire life changed. And, when you're pregnant, when you don't have the kid, you're thinking like, oh, my life isn't going to change. It's going to be exactly the same. And then when the baby comes, you're like, oh my God, you're responsible for a whole life. This little fragile little thing, I was like, when I left the hospital, I'm like, you're letting me leave? I was like, is it legal to let me leave? Are you sure? Like, can I leave? It was crazy. But it's so much fun. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes. Fortunately, my fans have been really patient, have been really understanding. So it's been great.
It's funny. You're leaving the hospital. You're like, no, is this safe? Like, who's gonna take care of the? They're like, no, that's you. That's you're like the parents.
Yeah, and they're like, here you go. I'm like, you sure there aren't like more paperwork? Can I just stay here? When you're staying there, it's great. The nurses do everything, and when they were giving her bath, I mean, I remember. That your eyes kind of glaze over when they're doing it for me. Like, yeah, I got it. And then when you come home, you have to do it yourself. You're like, how do I do this? Like, the number of times I had to Google, is my baby's poop normal? Like, if someone looks at my Google search history, it's quite embarrassing. Like 90% of it revolves around baby poop. It's just like, I took all these classes. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I'm a pro. I'm an expert now. And then I got home and I'm like,
just analyzing poop on the daily.
Oh yeah,
how did that
all that.
How did that get into your head of poop being so important to analyze to make sure your baby's health's okay?
I don't know. I feel like poop is like, that's how you determine if you're healthy or not. Is it not? I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
Jurassic Park when they the rhino or somebody who's sick and they go, there's a giant pile of
That's true.
Exactly.
They dig in and check it out. They're like, oh, I can tell it's a little under the weather. You're like, what?
Exactly. When like black tar comes out of your baby's butt for the first time, you're like, that's not normal. There's a lot of not normal things that comes out of your baby that you're like, so that's how it kind of started. And then you go down this rabbit hole and then you just analyze everything.
It's amazing how not ready the four of us are ready for any of that.
No.
We're just not even.
Yeah, I think I'm scaring you. I mean, I could scare you guys really, really big time.
Stop. I'm going to start analyzing my own poop, as gross as this is going to be. Yeah, I mean, you guys open the door for this now. I never think about this kind of stuff. Like, this is crazy.
Download an app, I guess. He does analyze his poop, so there's that. There's an app for that.
Is there an app for that?
There is an app for that.
What do you take a picture of it?
You must
and
take a picture and it
like the wine app that everybody uses, where you take a picture of the wine bottle, it tells you like how good it is.
Come on,
I don't think you take a picture of it, but I think you can describe it.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the Shazam of poop, where you play music and it tells you the song. I thought that's what we were talking about. This interview went somewhere where I did not expect for it to go.
I just wouldn't have guessed that it was going to go down this path.
This has become a common occurrence. Yesterday we talked about the ever expanding universe with Kevin Kisner. I just don't know how it got there, but I mean, hey, that's just the podcast, I guess. That's our brand. Poop in the universe.
Yeah, we were
somewhere in between. Foreplay pod.
we were trying to figure out. Like, we were trying to figure out what the edge of the universe might be, or if it's just ever expanding.
It expands, right? So, like, what is it expanding into?
Oh, wow.
Right? Like, so, like, if you think of, like, all right, it's like hitting a wall and going out. Like, what is that wall? What is that? What is nothing?
Huh. I mean, I kind of imagine it like the Big Bang, right? Like, you have something, and it, like, it's kind of circular, and it just, like, keeps going. But yeah,
going into what?
And I know you're blowing my mind right now. I don't know.
See,
I feel like there has to be like black holes involved, right? Like wormholes, and like, are there like different bubbles? Like are there?
I don't know.
It's like, you know how like Guardians of the Galaxy, they like,
yes,
light through like different worlds.
Yes.
Are there different universes that are connected through like wormholes?
Yes.
I'm just black. I'm envisioning blackness.
Yes, but black is something.
That's at least she's got ideas. We had no idea.
Right, but like the blackness is something.
The black holes give you an answer. Like, mentally, you can stop your conversation if you say black holes, because then it's like a stop, but it's an okay space stop. Where it's like, oh no, I'm just going to put a box on this by black holes, but it really does make your mind just spin in circles, because the answer is no way going to be found on this podcast.
Yeah. And if this answer was found on this podcast, that would just be
downloads, Michelle. Downloads. This thing would go crazy.
I mean, if y'all got a Nobel Peace Prize for figuring out what,
imagine all these like
all
these super scientific people, like they're playing it at like the UN, but they have to get through the poop talk first, right? They're playing like, all right, they're analyzing right now, but I know at some point they figure out what the answer to the ever-expanding universe is. We just have to get through it. We have 5 more minutes of the poop.
We'd have to take that 15-second skip off the podcast somehow, so that it was mandatory they had to listen and get
The
just
fact that you refer to them as super scientific people tells me we're not going to find the answer.
Those people that know things.
Our poor guy Craig from the USGA is gonna be like, man, I just told him to talk about how awesome the U.S. Women's Open is, and I got poop and the universe. That's what I got.
Oh man. Well, I'm looking forward to watching the U.S. Open because I just love golf that matters. Like I love like stuff that actually like when I can see the passion in people that are gonna be coming up on like Sunday and like they're actually like going to win a championship. I know Craig likes to call it a championship, it's not a tournament. That's something I get up for. That's what's going to be on my TV for sure. And the fact that we get it in December is stunning.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's actually happening is just mind-blowing to me. Everything that they had to do. And, these players being the last championship, the mass major, you're going to see, like you said, it's going to be worth watching. It's going to be something that everyone's going to work so hard to. You're going to see emotions. Even there's no fans, you're going to see fist pumps. You're going to see emotions. You're going to see people crying after they win. Just a lot of up and downs, a lot of drama you're going to see this week. So I think it's going to be fun to tune in.
I'm excited. I like you said, Frankie said, I mean, anytime I'll watch anything if it really, really matters. And then when it gets to a level where it matters the most, right? Like the U.S. Open is as important as it possibly gets. And you have, dozens and dozens of women who have worked their entire lives. You're one of them who this is like the putt that you envisioned your whole life. From when you were a kid, it's like to win the U.S. Open. And now you've got it in December. The USGA has figured out all these logistical challenges going to 2 courses because you don't have much sunlight, but they still want to be able to get a field out there and made it happen. And now you're going to have someone who, like you explained at the beginning of the show, like changed their life with their performance this week. And we get to just sit back and watch that kind of golf in December. So it's awesome. And I'm very excited. We are going to be obviously looking forward to you, Michelle, getting back out there. We hope you enjoy the week, have a great week, and hopefully we'll be able to see you on the course again soon.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Was this better for you guys? Michelle, they've bumped into you, I feel like 4 or 5 times without actually ever introduced. Have you guys ever introduced yourselves when you've seen it? Trent's walked into you in an apartment building while walking a dog.
Really?
All right.
Look how uncomfortable Trent
This is now
Look how uncomfortable Trent is.
I did not know if we were going to talk about this or not, and here we're going to talk about it. So there was a stretch of time a couple of years ago where I probably ran into you 4 or 5 times, and I was like, there's Michelle Wee. And it started, Riggs, do you remember when we went to that fancy rooftop bar in New York City?
Oh, boy.
No. But we shouldn't have been there. I remember the bouncer being like, "Are you guys sure you're supposed to be here?" We were wearing backpacks because we came straight from the office. You remember that?
Yeah, no, I do remember that. It was like a daytime thing. It wasn't like a shit show.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Wait, we actually met.
Yes.
Yes.
I remember this now. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
Where were we?
I think Hallie was there.
Yeah.
Who else was there? But yeah, it was at like the Standard or something like that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Standard rooftop.
That was the first time. And then over the next 3 months, I feel like I saw you everywhere. Like I was at a Starbucks. I was like, there's Michelle Wee. I was going to get lunch. There's Michelle Wee. Like every time I would turn the corner, there was Michelle Wee. And then the last time was the strangest. So I was dog sitting for a coworker of ours. And I was at his apartment. I was watching the dog at his apartment. It was in the West Village. And he had this big, what was Leroy, a Mastiff?
Yeah, I think so.
Leroy, I think it was a big Mastiff dog. Leroy recently passed away, actually.
Rest in peace, yeah.
Leroy. But I was taking the dog down in the elevator, and I walked out of the elevator into the lobby, and these 2 girls came up, and they started petting Leroy because he's a big dog. Everybody likes to pet him. And I looked up, and it was Michelle Wee. Michelle Wee was petting this dog as I was in the lobby, and it was the strangest occurrence of my life. Like, it felt like there was a glitch in the Matrix where I would just see Michelle Wee everywhere. And since then, I haven't seen you. That was the last time.
Interesting. You sure it was me?
I know. I'm convinced. I know it was.
Huh.
And I never said anything because I didn't want to be like, oh, we met one time at the top of like a hotel bar. Like I didn't want to be the guy who like you wouldn't remember. So I was like, whatever. I just see Michelle Wee everywhere now.
Yeah, Trent.
I did spend a lot of time in New York City. I love it. It's my favorite city in the world.
Yeah.
It is great. New York, I mean, I'm rooting for New York to come back. It will. A lot of people are kind of panicking on it and going through a tough time. Very understandable. A lot of places are, but New York, when it's thriving, especially this time of year, like I feel like fall in New York is usually with football, and it kind of makes it like that's when it really is worth it to live and thrive in New York. But yeah, there was a stretch there where it was like every other week Trent would send a group text being like, I ran into Michelle Wee again.
It was just a very strange time of my life.
I'm sad you didn't come up and say hi and be that weird dude. It was like I met you at a bar a couple weeks ago.
That's the interaction I was avoiding. I was trying not to do that. But
hey, I keep looking at you from far distances at a Starbucks, at a bar. Imagine how that would have went.
Well,
yeah.
At least she remembered. If she didn't remember, then it's like it's a mess.
Right. I was very nervous to even tell that story because I thought she'd be like, all right, well, I'm never talking to these guys again. That was too weird.
It's like
Once we talked about poop and the universe, I was ready to tell it.
Green light. You had the
green light to tell me that you were stalking me for a couple of months.
Exactly. That's the word we were trying to avoid.
Trent won't sleep tonight.
Word was the word we didn't want to hear.
That was the word I was avoiding at all costs.
As you say, it's just like it's a bad time too because you got the winter hat on inside and you got the hoodie on. It's like
white walls,
just white walls, like you've been locked up.
Like, are you in the back of a white van? Like, what's happening now? You know, are you
he likes candy?
House.
Yeah, it does look like I'm in an insane asylum, but that's just my bedroom.
Which could be an insane asylum.
Yes.
Depends on what night it is, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, God.
What an ending to this show.
Perfect.
Michelle, enjoy the U.S. Open. We very much appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully we'll be able to catch up again soon next year, and hopefully you're getting back out there winning tournaments again. Thank
you. I'm for sure going to Google now. What is the end of the universe?
You're not gonna like the images because it's just a cone that keeps going more. And where is it going into? I did it last night. I didn't sleep.
It's unsatisfying.
It's super unsatisfying. Yeah. Thanks again, Michelle. That was awesome.
Thank you. Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is brought to you, these interviews, this show, what we do here, by our very good friends at Dude Wipes. That's a little bit ironic right now, but Dude Wipes are the original flushable wipes for guys, created literally out of an apartment a few years ago by 4 Chicago dudes. Everyone's stocking up on toilet paper with coronavirus. You know that. You're aware of that. You need to be stocking up on Dude Wipes. They're great. They work for everything. I put them in my golf bag. I use the shower wipes. They're also in my golf bag. And when you finish around the golf, clean yourself up. You might want to go to the 19th hole. You don't want to be a sweaty, gross mess. I'm a sunscreen guy. I cake myself in sunscreen. You get the old Dude shower wipe going. Get all that off. Get it out of your pores. Clean yourself up a little bit. Try to seem and appear respectable. And then the Dude wipes, the original, man, they're going to clean you right up. When you're doing your business, you're kind of getting done what needs to get done. You want to essentially have it feel afterward like nothing happened, like nothing was there. You want to be clean as a whistle, and Dude Wipes is going to get that done for you. On top of that, they got all these great products, as we talked about. On top of that, we're going to get you 20% off. You use the code RIGGS20. You go to dudeproducts.com. You can also pick up their stuff at Amazon, Walmart, Mariano's, Jewel, Meijer. Use the code RIGGS20 if you go to dudeproducts.com. Get yourself 20% off. They've got great apparel as well. They got the deodorant, spray and sticks, new Dude underwear, performance boxer briefs. They got all kinds of good stuff. So dudeproducts.com, RIGGS20 gets you 20% off. Okay, folks, we are joined now by one of the hottest, most exciting young stars in all of the game of golf. Emerged on the scene last year at Augusta and has, taken off. You hit the ball very far. Very fun to watch. Maria Fassi from Houston. How's Houston? How's kind of the feeling here the last major of the year?
Hey Riggs, well it's great joining you guys today. It's great. I mean, I'm super excited. I've played both courses already. They're in amazing shape. I'm super excited to get going tomorrow. Have a very fun group with Ann and Bianca. It's going to be a fun little test to see who hits it farther. And yeah, just very excited to be able to compete in another major and in another U.S. Open.
Yeah, your group is interesting. It's, you've been a lot of talk, obviously, about how far you guys hit it. Is that gonna get competitive within the group, you think? Is that gonna add a few yards to some of your bombs?
For sure. We've already started trash talking each other, so we're gonna have to keep up with that, and I think it's gonna carry on for the next couple of days.
You mentioned the two courses. It's obviously unique. We discussed it with Michelle Wee West a little bit, but it's smart, very smart by the USGA. Daylight's a concern. It's December. There's a major championship going on. How tricky, how different has it been trying to, prepare for two courses, because preparing for one is sort of difficult enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely very odd. Not used to it, not even on a regular event. We're used to playing two courses. But I think in a way they're similar. They have some similar holes. Of course, the grass is the same. They're both in amazing shape. Just takes a little more from us to we don't have as much time, I guess, to get to know each course as we usually do for the tournaments when we have 3 days to practice just the one course. So that's been a little bit of a challenge. I think the practice rounds, I at least was definitely more focused and really wanted to get my lines off the tee and really get a good feel of the fairways, how they're shaped, what the hole looks like, the greens. I mean, everything. It was longer practice rounds. I was more tired after both rounds, but I mean, I'm happy that the field size didn't decrease because of daylight. So playing two courses was the only way to make that happen. And I mean, like you said, I think it was a good move by the USGA to keep the championship strong with best 156 players in the world. So I'm excited to be here, and I think it's just going to be a even bigger test this week for us.
What U.S. Opens have the sort of the famous moniker identity of being very difficult, of testing players to the maximum on shot making, on driving, the rough is tough. So, now that you've seen the courses for a few days, what can we expect out of Champions Golf Club this week?
Yeah, I think they're both very strong golf courses. Cypress Creek has very big greens, plays a little bit longer than Jackrabbit. But Jackrabbit, you have more dog legs, which I think makes it play a little bit longer than what the yardage says. It's tree line, just kind of like a old style golf course. They're both, I mean, I think very good tests of golf. The par threes are very strong in both courses. Good par fives. So I think it's going to be a fun week. Hitting it long, I think it's probably going to help. You still got to hit it in the fairway, but I think distance could really be beneficial out here. They're both playing long. It's not very firm yet. I think it'll get firmer during the week, but for tomorrow especially, I think distance can be very beneficial, and just getting a good feel of the greens. I mean, they're, like I said, they're pretty big greens, slopey, so you kind of have to be in the right side of the green to be able to make putts. So I think it's going to be, a very interesting week with both courses, but a lot of fun, and I think very good golf can be played out here.
Is our plan to just attack all week?
Yeah, I mean, I've hit drivers on almost every hole on both courses, which is very rare. I mean, I don't even think in my amateur or junior career I really ever did that. So I'm super excited about that. Hopefully the big guy shows up and wants to work with me. But I think we gotta kind of take it on, take advantage of my length, and use it as much as I can.
You make any like equipment tweaks or anything for this week?
Well, I just put in a 4-wood into play. So I have a 4-wood, a 5-wood, and a 7-wood. And we're kind of still working on, depending on wind and what course we play, deciding on 2 out of those 3 to bring in. So that 4-wood is really good off the tee. Of course, it gives me a little more distance than the 5-wood. It gets me to like 260. So that could be a very good club off the tee if I don't feel comfortable maybe with hitting driver off the tee or whatsoever. So we're still kind of trying to decide. I think we'll make a decision tonight on what stays, but everything else is the same that I've been playing with for the last 2 or 3 months. And yeah, wedges are looking good. Putting's starting to get hotter. So I'm excited.
Is this you just mentioned you're excited. I've heard that word a few times. Like, is this as excited, for any week as you get?
Yeah, I think for me, I think that the U.S. Open's like the biggest tournament that we play. Not to say that the other ones that we play are not, or the other majors are not as important, but I don't know. I think the USGA just makes it special. I don't know. I think the courses play as hard as we ever play. I think this one and KPMG are like the toughest two tournaments in my opinion. But yeah, U.S. Open. I don't know. I think being a U.S. Open champion's just unlike anything else. So it's definitely a bigger week for me. I'm more excited and more motivated, I guess, than any other week during the year.
Is there anything you have to try to not get too excited, right? I mean, especially this year, it's been you're waiting all year. Yeah, there's other big events like you said, but having this U.S. Open in December, there's really no other golf going on, so it's as highlighted as it could possibly be. And here you come in, you hit the ball far, you got a lot of star power. You want to win this one as much or more than anything else. How do you do you have to like chill out a little bit? Are you like running around the hotel and your team's like just relax? Like how do you kind of calm yourself down and not get too excited?
Yeah, I definitely think that, I mean, you kind of have to lower expectations and just play golf. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still another golf tournament. The goal is still the same, just to get in the hole in as little strokes possible. That doesn't change throughout the year. So you kind of, at least I try to see it that way. As much as I'm excited and I prepare maybe a little bit different this week than I do any other week, I still kind of just try to see and be like, okay, like you're still just hitting shots, kind of calm down, get all the excitement kind of over with Monday through Wednesday. And just, I think I kind of try to just focus on what I can do, focus on myself, and just hitting good golf shots Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, it is. It's so interesting trying to, for an average person to try to envision playing in a major and how hyped up you must get. Because I mean, even like if I book a buddy's trip and we have like a buddy's Ryder Cup trip, we'll be talking trash to each other for months on the email chain leading up to it. And then you actually have to stand on that tee, or you arrive on property and it's like the night before you're running outside, taking swings in the backyard and trying to, you just can't wait to play. And golf's not one of those sports where, if you play hockey or basketball, it's like having that incredible extra energy can kind of propel your momentum. Whereas in golf, you kind of, like we said, you need to kind of chill and stick to the process and trust the swing. So I find it very interesting kind of understanding and hearing about how you approach those things.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, like I am a very explosive and emotional player. So that excitement, I think it also kind of plays in my favor. Like, because today I'm like super excited, but then Thursday comes, it's my tee time, and like I'm gonna be nervous, I'm gonna be a little bit shaky, but like I love that. I love kind of having those butterflies in your stomach that you're like, oh boy, like am I gonna be able to keep my ball on the tee? Like it's just those things I think are the beauty of competition, and I'm really looking forward to those tomorrow and Friday and Saturday and Sunday, hopefully. So I think all the excitement kind of transfers into that for me. But then you kind of have to be like, okay, like you can't have shaky hands when you're trying to make a birdie putt, So it's a weird combination of the two where I want to be pumped up, I want to be excited, but then I want to be calm to be able to make good decisions and still hit good shots.
That's why it's such a great game. Like you said, it's like you want to be hyped up. You want to hit you want to hit a 300-yard drive, but then it's like, you actually got to calm down. Your hands can't.
Yeah, no, you got to hit a 60-yard wedge. Yeah.
Well, look, it's a major week. It's U.S. Open week. It's the biggest week on the calendar. So, I'm hyped up. I'm sure you're hyped up. We appreciate you taking the time, and good luck out there this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Yeah.
Folks, these rangefinders. Everybody's talking about rangefinders. Everybody's trying to figure out which one to get. There's a lot of different companies out there. It could be clouded. Maybe you're not sure. Well, the one that we've been using, the one that we've been touting, the one that is significantly more affordable yet phenomenal technology is Pinned. You get the blackjack from Pinned Golf, and you are going to be very pleased, and you're not going to spend an arm and a leg. It's pinnedgolf.com. Use the code FOREPLAY. You're actually going to get free shipping. You get a free hardcover case and a ball marker on top of their ridiculously low price of $199. That's it. This thing's awesome. The blackjack takes the elevation into account. It's got the slope technology if you would like to use that. It's got the pinned lock vibration, so your rangefinder, it's going to vibrate when you've locked in on the target. It's got the USB charger, so you don't have to go scrounging around, struggling, searching for batteries, begging somebody in the pro shop if they got like an extra rangefinder battery. You don't have to do any of that. They just charge it with the USB. Charges forever. The charge lasts forever.
What do you guys think about batteries? Should we still be using those things? Is that an outdated type of power source that we have chargers, or are they still in vogue? You know, like
I think it's pretty outdated. I'm kind of stunned the batteries still exist.
I think I'm stunned that batteries that you can't recharge exist.
Yes.
Like batteries that it's just like, oh, those, like my Xbox controller will die and I'm using whatever brand, the local ones, and I'm just like, all right, throw those away. Like, why can't we just charge everything?
Dude, I bought a 24-pack of AA batteries today because my Xbox controller just dies all the time. And I was like, what an insane waste of money. These things are just going to die. I'm going to leave my Xbox controller on for, every night basically for the next year. And I'm only going to get through. This pack cost me like $25. And I was like, it's going to last me for a month and they're all going to just be dead.
Also, rangefinder batteries are a nightmare. Like, they're this thing that they're not even real. Like, they're just mini crazy things that they sell at like one every 25 stores. And you're like, oh, well, I guess when this thing dies, just buy a new one. So the fact that you're able to charge this with USB is huge because it's like, welcome to the 21st century. And also like, welcome to making things significantly easier. Like, while we're at home charging our phones, our drones, our fucking laptops, like, let's just charge our rangefinder. Like, you prepare your bag the night before anyway, especially if it's a big round that you have going on. So like, just popping that thing in on the outlet is perfect. Like, that's just welcome to the 21st century rangefinders.
I'm ready to take on big battery. I might be out on battery.
I don't know if that's a battle you're ready to take, but I know that you're passionate about it, and I hope that you're successful. But big batteries.
The Xbox controller thing is crazy, Riggs. I'm with you. It eats batteries. Eats them.
You know who's anti-battery? Or no, wrong. You know who's big team battery? I was opposite on that. Is your guy Elon Musk. He loved batteries. That Tesla battery is supposed to like change the world, rechargeable and shit.
But you can recharge those. Not to be on Elon Musk's side for the first time in the history.
Yeah, but still a battery. I was gonna say like he's anti-battery, but he's also in the battery business massively. So I don't know what he is.
He's more, I would say, anti-fuel, which is kind of a different conversation, but also a little bit along the lines that we're talking about. Like, if you can just recharge your battery for your car, that's actually smarter and more efficient than putting gasoline in it, which is kind of the same thing as having something rechargeable like a pinned rangefinder instead of putting batteries in it that just die.
There we go. I knew there was some connection there.
There's definitely a connection there. You go to pinnedgolf.com and you can complete that connection. Get yourself the blackjack, pinnedgolf.com, code FOREPLAY. You get yourself free shipping, you get a free hardcover case, you get a ball marker on top of their ridiculously low price of $199. So that's it. Pinned Golf. Get yourself the blackjack. Okay. Next up, we have our final guest out of 3. We have Jay Marie Green, live from Houston. All right, folks, we're joined from Houston. We have another special guest, Jay Marie Green. So we've gotten a few perspectives thus far. It's obviously major week, probably the biggest week on the calendar for you guys, just in general down there. I mean, no fans, but yet it's December, and there's a big highlight on the Women's U.S. Open this week, maybe more so than ever because you're not going up against other golf. So what's kind of the general vibe? What's the feeling down there right now?
It definitely feels different here, but like in a good way. I feel like, well, without fans, it's definitely weird because last year felt like a football game in Charleston. People are just, drinking beer and just screaming. So there's none of that, but just, like it's the only event really going on, and there's, they have all the TV cameras set up everywhere, and you just know if it's a big deal.
Yeah. So how do you, I mean, this has got to be for you as excited as you get, as big as it gets. So how do you kind of, I talked with Maria Fassi about it a little bit. How do you try to almost calm yourself and maybe try to work into treating it like just any other week? Because like you just said, like it's big, it's as big as it gets.
Yeah.
You probably need to calm down a little bit. How do you do that?
Well, I feel like now this year, this tournament has become even bigger for me because I was leading it last year with 6 holes to play. So now it feels even bigger because I want to get revenge. So I'm like, let's go. Like I'm getting, like you said, you're getting juiced up. And I think it really helps when you have a good caddy. And my brother is really good at, calming me down and just like letting me be able to see like what's right in front of me, because that's like the biggest thing with majors I find is like, you always hear everyone say, take one shot at a time. I'm like, that would be awesome if I could really do that, like, how do I do that? But really just staying in the moment has been like the biggest help for me. I'm like, okay, I can't even think of tomorrow when I'm not even there yet. So that's something that helps me a lot.
You got to tell me more about this dynamic with your brother, because, I've got a brother, I've got a sister. Yes, we can be great, but also we could just be at each other's throats. So, there's got to be some moments out there where it's not always just kumbaya.
Oh yeah, there are definitely moments because it's so funny when it's like your sibling. If I have a downhill putt and you just want to cozy it up there and I'm blowing it like 8 feet by, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, just tap it down there. I'm like, you would talk to no other player this way. I'm your sister, so respect me. We have some of that going.
Yeah, which I'm sure is good. Like, I'm sure it makes you comfortable that you have that. You got to be able to give each other shit, give each other a hard time.
Oh, 100%. And we play a lot of golf at home together. So just the trash talking keeps going. And I just feel so comfortable with him on the bag. It's the best.
We're always so fascinated by the player caddy dynamic because golf, it's so talked about how individualistic it is. And a lot of us, if we're big sports fans, almost every sport that we're a fan of is a team sport. You can rely on other people. You don't have to carry all the weight all the time. And inside the ropes, you have one person that's on your team that's helping you out. How much do you lean on your brother and your caddy out there?
I used to think I was like just the individual, but I rely on him a lot. Like, I take full responsibility. I've learned like, okay, if you hit a bad shot, it's no one else's fault but your own. So that I had to learn that on my own, but I rely on him a lot. And I know a lot of girls do. I don't think caddies are talked about enough because you just see certain players when they have a good caddy, they just vibe so well together. And you just know, you could just see it and you kind of know who's going to have a good week. You could just tell there's like an aura around them, I just love it. It's definitely, it is an individual sport, but I don't think I would be like the same golfer without my brother for sure.
Golf's so much too about like playing good golf is so much about being comfortable. And, we discuss it all the time. Like, we're all pretty bad amateur golfers. And there's times like if we get a little bit nervous, like we're screwed because we already don't have the fundamentals. And it's like, once you then add this other element, you have no chance. Like the only way we could ever play decent golf is if you are as comfortable as possible. Like sometimes it takes alcohol. Sometimes it takes like, who knows what that's going to take. So I do like, it's so important. I feel like to have that presence with you that is going to make you as comfortable as possible because it's a sport where you just have to try to be as comfortable as possible.
Oh, 100%. Like, I don't think anyone plays good golf when they're either on edge or nervous. It's impossible. But when you are, like you said, like when you have that person or thing to help calm you down and it's your caddy walking beside you, I mean, it's like a natural buzz, you know?
So, you know, 2020, it's been a wild year, an interesting year for pretty much everybody. And it's been even more interesting, I would say, for you. How are you feeling physically and everything else going into, you know, the final major of the year?
Oh man, I feel really good now. I got in a bike accident and during quarantine, and that took like 10 weeks for me to heal from. So I feel 100%. Sometimes my brain, I get a little spacey, and I already was spacey before, but now it's like at least I have an excuse now. Um, but it's so cool to think like I'm here playing. Like I was thinking about it earlier this week. I'm like, I shouldn't even be here with how bad my accident was. Like I'm able to play. And I think it's a good mindset because it gives you like that calm feeling, you know, because it's almost like dude, you're alive, let's just go play some golf versus putting so much pressure on yourself. I mean, there's not one person out here that doesn't want to win the Women's US Open, you know. Everyone is wanting to play well this week. So it's not like I'm the only one that feels that way. It's just who handles it the best.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting. And that perspective, you know, I'm sure it does help your mindset a little bit because, like you said, you could probably, especially when you do it, you know, over and over again, year after year, and it's such a huge part of your life where you kind of probably feel like I'm the only one that's feeling this pressure or this intensity, or I have this desire, and necessarily like just trying harder in golf doesn't always just deliver better results. And then all of a sudden, like you said, understanding like, no, actually everyone here feels the same way. And having that perspective can go a long way. And I mean, it's got to feel a little bit too. I mean, it's always a better feeling to think and feel like, well, I'm pretty like lucky to be out here. And that's not always just a given, which kind of reading some of the things you've said since the accident, it's just an interesting mindset to have that, that, you know, try to pick kind of positives from a negative thing that happened.
100%. Because, like, after I got injured, I didn't have that mindset. I'm like, I missed all these tournaments. And when I first came back, I was hitting better than I was before. So my expectations were so high. I'm like, I'm going to win everything, you know? And then next thing I know, I'm definitely not even coming close. I'm like, why am I even playing golf? This is stupid. I hate this game, which I'm sure everyone feels. You're like, I'm never playing again, trunk slamming, you know? And I'm like, you know what? Like the bigger picture is so much bigger than just right here, you know? So I just kind of freed me up a little bit.
During the 10 weeks, I mean, do you find yourself like thinking about the golf swing or like thinking about making shadow swings or what, you know, what, cause it's like I said, it's been such a big part of your life forever. And now all of a sudden you're kind of sidelined. How'd you handle it?
I wasn't thinking much, to be honest. I couldn't think it because I hit my head so hard that thinking was really hard. I think the only thing I was really thinking was like, when am I going to play? Like, I didn't really care how I was going to hit it. I was just like, when can I at least try? And that was like the biggest letdown for me because in the hospital, they said, you're going to be good in 2 weeks. So then go and get an MRI and say 10. That was like, okay, you're going to now finally quarantine's over. We're getting back out. And now I missed the first 4 or 5 events. Like, come on. Like, that was frustrating for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine, but well, I'm glad that you're back. Tell me about the courses. You know, again, I've been trying to get a little bit of some tidbits, some knowledge, some expectations. What's the scoring going to be like? But tell me just kind of now that you've had a few days and getting into the tournament, we're starting tomorrow. What are your thoughts on the courses? How are they playing?
I'll give you the honest truth of what I think. Okay, is the championship course you can tell is like, or the Cypress course is the one that we'll play 3 times. Like the back 9 I think is really tough. The greens are ginormous. It's all about, me and my brother were talking about, like, you got to hit it to where you can see the ball on the greens. You know, there's a lot of runoffs. Like if you can always see your ball, you're in a pretty good position. It's like one of those golf courses, a lot of runoffs. And then the other course, same thing. And it's really great how the green speeds, the fairways, and they have everything like pretty much exactly the same. I thought it was going to be a difference and we'd be able to notice, but you can't. That course, I think, they're both, there's a lot of runoff areas. You got to it's all about your misses this week, I think, 100%. Like it's one of those things where, let's say like hole 11, you're coming in with like a 5-iron, and anything left of the green runs so far off and into the water. So if you're going to miss it, you just got to play to miss it right. Your misses have to be good.
Oh yeah. Reminds me of like Pinehurst number 2 or something.
Exactly. It's like that, but when it could run off into water.
Oh no. Oh no, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, and there's definitely some positions I find like around greens where you're going to look at your best option for bogey. You're always just trying to make easy pars, but you could get in a situation where it's like, I could hit this little bunker shot, but if it runs out, it's running right in the water. Like, let's take it right and try and 2-putt from 40 feet. Like, right. There's situation, like, I feel like that's kind of the same in all majors where you just kind of eliminate the high numbers. Like, bogeys are okay, but you never want to make a double or triple, I mean, whoever wants to do that, but.
But it can be tough, right? I mean, especially for you guys, you're so good that to take a little bit of medicine like that is very rare.
Yeah, that's like the hard thing, and what my brother helps me a lot is I'm such an aggressive player where we've been really working on. He goes, Jay, in these practice rounds, when I tell you a line, like go at that line. Like even if the pin is in the center of the green and I tell you to hit it right, just work on not even going for pins.
Right.
It's definitely one of those. It's playing long. The greens are huge.
Yeah.
You can have like some 80-footers out there.
Another thing I'm always really curious about, any equipment tweaks to the bag, to the setup for this week?
I didn't. I'm really liking my bag. I got new wedges. Actually, that would probably be new. I just put in a freshie set of wedges. So they're nipping. How
often do you go new wedges?
Like 3 months. I like to have them fresh.
Yeah, that's fresh. That's real fresh.
Yeah, I love it. Just, you never want to think, oh, if I had a new wedge, would I be spinning it more? Like, I just eliminate that thought.
I mean, it's a good sign when you're just like, yeah, my wedges are nippy right now. That's all.
It's the best feeling. It's like you can just throw it at the pin and it stops on a major. It's like, it feels good.
You're like, yeah, I'm pretty sweet. Like, that was good. Well, look, we appreciate the time. I know us, our fans, everybody in golf's really pumped about this week, and how much the Open's going to be highlighted. So it's a busy week, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, thank you. And you're very knowledgeable at golf. What's your handicap?
No, I'm like a 4 or 5 right now, so I'm not.
That's good.
The internet doesn't like my golf swing, but I can get it around. Okay. But
yeah.
When we started talking like nippy, that's like the one thing I can do is get the ball close to the hole around the greens. Other than that, it can be ugly.
So you play just like how my brother plays.
Yeah, it's pretty much like try to keep it in play, then try to keep it in play again, and now we're around the green.
And now you're good.
Yeah, right. That's how I
play. I'm so the opposite. I'm like, once I'm around the green, I'm like, all right, maybe you want to putt for me?
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure too it's got to be rattling for him to be like, no, this is the one thing I can actually do well.
Oh yeah, and because like me and chipping weren't great, and he's like, dude, this is so it's just like a little nip. I'm like, you want to hit it? Go ahead, you hit it. You hit it with the pressure, okay?
Right. It's like easy. You're carrying, you're chilling right now. Like imagine it's a little different.
Yeah, exactly. When you have 7 cameras on you, it's not easy.
Awesome. Cool. Well, good luck this week. And
thank you.
And again, we appreciate it. Go play well.
Thanks. Nice to meet you.
You too.